My sister and brother-in-law bought this house a few years back, and it came with this huge deck. The only problem is it's a little bit ugly and it's also fallen apart. So today we're going to bump this thing up to the modern era with some cedar deck boards and a steel cable railing system that I got from BLIKA. So after a few days of demo, here's where we were at. You can see we have some joists that are still in great condition, so we're going to use those for the railing installation. When you get one of these kits from BLIKA, they're designed to be DIY friendly. I sent them the dimensions of our deck, and they sent me back an invoice with everything that I should need to complete the project. They also send some basic instructions that kind of give you an idea for what you're going to be doing, but hopefully this video will help you guys figure it out if you do decide to try one of these systems out. So every post box comes with a variety of tools and fasteners, and it kind of looks like this when you open it up. The first thing I want to do is get these posts locked in around the deck perimeter, and for that I'm going to be making a quick template that matches the bracket. Shout out to my sister for this idea. It was genius and it saved us a ton of time. Now that I had my template, I just had to figure out where I was going to put the posts, and based on the amount of posts we were sent and the size of our deck, they ended up being about 3 to 4 feet apart. I centered my template on each post location, made sure it was flush with the top of the deck, and then marked it out for pre-drilling. If you have a driver for this job, which I would highly recommend, BLIKA sends you this little attachment that holds the bolts perfectly and also has a little magnet in there so they don't fall out. In combination with the template, this made setting the posts super fast. Our joists are fairly plumb, but they're not perfectly level, so we got these washers at the hardware store that we ended up using to level things out. You want to make sure the posts are pretty plumb before you move on, because you're really going to notice the inconsistencies and probably kick yourself down the line if you don't.
That's close enough. Hell yeah.
Each post sits about a 1/4 inch off of the joist, so you get a nice lip for the deck boards. And if you have stairs, they make a post with a special top bracket that installs the same way. We got the posts roughed in after about an hour, maybe an hour and a half of work, and they were looking really good. The next step was to lay some deck boards down so we had a good place to work. After a couple hours of work on our hands and knees, here's what things looked like. We are by no means construction professionals, but things were looking really good so far, and the dogs were pretty happy with it too. Before we can put the steel cables in, we need to attach a top railing to this to keep the posts from shifting around when they're under tension. The first step is to attach the mounting brackets to each post. To do this, all you got to do is take out the screw in the top of each post and attach the bracket nice and tight. Once we had all our brackets down, it was a pretty straightforward process. Once everything is in position, you pre-drill a couple small holes and then use the included screws to lock everything in place.
Okay.
For the stair posts, they have this super handy adjustable bracket where you tighten or loosen this screw to change the angle. This made the stair railing super easy because we didn't have to do any crazy math to figure out how it should lay. The bottom screw was kind of tricky to get in, and maybe there's a better way to do this, but I just used a double extension and stuck it in at a bit of an angle.
It's in there.
The next part of this installation is a little tedious, but I've got a way to do it that hopefully will speed it up for you guys. BLIKA sends you a kit with this crimping tool and a cable cutter, and using some pipe clamps, I attached it to a crowbar and a 2x2 to increase my leverage. You basically crimp the cable into each of these little fasteners and place them at either end of each side of the deck. The crimping process is pretty easy. You just insert it into this tool and then pump it a couple times so it holds it in place. Then you put the cable in the other side and give it a couple firm pushes until it locks it down. You want to make sure you crimp each fastener twice because that's going to hold the cable in much better. My workflow for getting the cables into the railing is to position myself at one corner and then run the cable through once I've crimped one side of it. I then screw the head on the fastener and pull it tight on the other side, cutting it with a little extra room, and crimp on the second fastener. This process is kind of tedious, takes a little while, but once you get your workflow down, you can get a rhythm going and knock it out pretty fast. Here's a closer look at the exact process I use to put in each cable. First, I lock the fastener into the crimping tool, then I insert the steel cable and crimp the end. Then I loosen it slightly and crimp the middle. Using a large star bit and my drill, I unscrew the top of the fastener, and then I insert it through each steel post, working my way all the way down to the end of the railing. Once I've reached the end and threaded it through, I add on the screw top of the fastener and give it about 3 turns. I pull the other side tight, then back it off about 1 inch and give it a cut. I found about this much extra cable allowed me to tension it without having too much. Finally, you add the second crimping fastener on the other side and screw it in till it's taut. For the cables on the stair railing, you basically repeat the same process. You can see the posts are designed slightly differently, where the hole towards the bottom is lower than the hole towards the top. That allows you to get a nice angle with your cables. The only difference is you thread on this angled washer, which allows the fastener to sit in the right position. You also want to give yourself a little bit extra cable at the bottom before cutting. I wasted quite a few crimping fasteners while figuring this out, so if you do it yourself, I would recommend ordering extra. Next step is to go through and tension all the cables to the right amount. You can use a drill with a large star bit head and some pliers, or BLIKA also includes an Allen wrench that fits these fine, and this was a lot easier than I thought it would be. You want to take the slack out, but not tension them so much that you're putting a lot of stress on the crimps. And the final detail, which makes everything look really finished, is these little rubber grommets that you put around each wire. Not only do they make things look nicer, but they also keep the cables from rattling against the metal housing of the post. They have a small split in each one, so you can thread it right around a wire and you don't have to put them on ahead of time. They also include some grommets for the stair posts that are basically the same, but they kind of have an angle on the backside to make them fit a little better. And that's all there is to it, y'all. With the last couple grommets in, it's time for the final reveal. Here's the final look, you guys. What do you think? We're very happy with it. It looks super modern, huge upgrade for the back deck. Overall, it only took a couple days for me to get the railing up and also help put these deck boards down, so it was a fairly easy process once I figured out the workflow. BLIKA has a lot of different varieties of posts and cables and fastener combinations. They also offer a metal railing if you don't like the wood look, so there's a lot of different things you can do if you're interested in this style. That's pretty much it. If you guys have any questions about how this was installed, feel free to leave a comment, and otherwise, I'll let you guys enjoy the final shots of how the deck and railing turned out.